I have a lot of work to do today, and so first things first, I've got to get I got to finish kind of cutting out the cover crop. I've got to get wheat planted to that box right there. That's got grapes in it, so I've got to get those planted in the ground. What else? Oh, I need to build some trellises so that I can get beans in the ground. I really hopefully can get the irrigation system in probably next week. Maybe today, probably not. And then I have a bunch of other. Um, I've got to shuttle people back and forth to school, to doctor's appointments, all kinds of things today. So here we go. So last week I tried a couple of attachments on the wheel hoe to try and get the cover crop plowed up and tilled up. And so I tried the tines, just the rippers. I tried the plow. Neither of those worked. And then I decided, you know what? If I were burning this down with herbicide, that would just be killing the top and leaving the roots underneath. It kills the roots, but it leaves them there. So I decided to try these sweeps. The whole point of what these do is they just slice the top of the weed off, and in this case, they slice the cover crop off, and that effectively kills it for at least the type of cover crops that I'm using. It just tops it off, and that basically terminates it. So as you can see here, it did a pretty good job. It was dark when I did it, and I was feeling like I was in a hurry, but anyway. But where I got it, it's dead, so that makes me pretty happy. I'm gonna run through this once again with it and just kill off what's left, and then I'll go ahead and run this through. So one of the things that I didn't realize when I first started doing this, when I first started learning about actual farming practices, is that what creates organic matter in your soil isn't the top of the cover crop, it's the roots. So I could mow down all of this all day long and just leave it there, and that's not going to increase the organic matter in my soil. It's the roots that are going to create that organic matter, and that's why so often cover crops are actually terminated with an herbicide, because it just kills the crop and leaves the roots in the soil. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here with the sweeps, is that just cuts off the top of the crop and leaves what I hope is most of the root structure inside the soil. Because it's an annual, or all these cover crops are an annual, I'm hoping that, once I've cut off the tops of them, that root structure is going to simply die and add more organic matter to the soil, and any nitrogen that's been stored up by that plant is going to stay in there. So I'm just probably going to rake up what's there, and then at that point it's going to be time to plant wheat pretty soon. Now it's time to get the rest of it. So we got that all tore up, and now it's time to head to the first appointment and hopefully come back and rake this up. All right, good news and bad news. One of the doctor's appointments that I needed to shuttle some family to is canceled, so I have probably gave me at least an extra hour or two to work on other things in the garden. The bad news is that it has started to rain. I don't think I'm going to let that stop me from planting some wheat in that little section there. We'll see. And then I also have to get these here grapes in the ground. 3 grapes. I got 2 Concords and another Reliant to put on the perimeter of the garden. And so now we need to get those in the ground. I'm kind of at a loss for what to do at this point because I had expected to be doing something else. So we'll figure that out. I just checked the radar, and it's pretty much supposed to sprinkle like this all day long. So, well, seeding is probably out of the question at this point. But putting the grapes in the ground is certainly not out of the question. So I think that's what I'm going to do next. Looking good. Let's get those in the ground. Okay. There's our little grape plant right there. And then in a couple of years it'll be just as big as this one. And that one. And my goodness, maybe even that one. Here, the Concords. And the other Concord. So all I have to do with these is put in the trellis line right here. Just get a couple more fence posts in there. And fortunately with the Reliant, I don't need to do that because they're already there. All right, now time to get some fence posts up. So a couple weeks ago, I had to replace one of my side gates because it blew over, and the result is this guy right here. I've got 2 of those, and I'm gonna attach these to make some trellis, and then eventually I will take some of these guys, some of these things right here, break those up, and make some more trellises. I just need some brackets and things to kind of put them together properly with. So let's get to making what I got right now. So before, I would actually take this fencing and just uncoil it and have to tie it to fence posts and all that sort of stuff. And now, I just have to lift it up, carry it out there, and set it up. This should be a lot easier to take care of in the future. It's just take it up, pick it up, put it out there, tie it to the fence posts, and off you go. We're all done. And then when it's time to take it down, same deal. Untie it, take it in, put it down, and we're done. No undoing all of this stuff and then having to coil it back up and having to put it somewhere. So, well, as you can see, it's raining pretty hard. I decided to not go ahead and plant that wheat. It was just too muddy by the time I got to the point where I could do that. The seeder really, just like any planter, it's not going to work when the ground is all wet. I would broadcast it, but really in an ideal world you want to get that seed about an inch in the ground at least, for it to germinate nicely and have a good stand once once it all comes up. Hopefully it'll dry out later this week a little bit, but I'm not counting on it. It's heading into April. It rains a lot, and so I'm hoping to have everything in the ground come April. Well, except a few things. I want to have wheat. I want to have corn in the ground next month, but we'll see how it all works out. For now, I have to wait. The days are getting longer, so hopefully maybe I can get out after work and go plant a few things when that comes time. And I still have the drip irrigation to get in. I'm not putting that on the wheat, so I'm not worried about that. I just have to put that in everywhere else before I plant pretty much anything else, because everything else is going to need that. The wheat is going to be planted really too close for the drip irrigation to be practical. So I'll just have to hand water it, not a big deal. So there you go. Thank you guys very much for watching. Still trying to, I'm still trying to figure this out, get, see what, how would a farmer approach this little tiny garden back here. This spring has already been a little bit clunky, and I expect the rest of the summer to be the same way. But I also expect to learn a few things as we go along, and hopefully you learn a few things too. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it.